Joining me now is Charles Coleman Jr., civil rights attorney, host of the Charles Coleman podcast, and MSNBC legal analyst. Charles, always great to see you. The Manhattan DA has invited Trump to testify. It wouldn't be unusual for him to decline, would it?
No, it wouldn't. And I think, Jonathan, if you're his attorney, you have to be wondering whether it's a good idea for your client to testify. I think that ultimately what DA Bragg has done in this move is signal to Donald Trump that, yes, you are the subject of this or potentially a subject. And anything that he says in that grand jury could be used against him ultimately. And so it's usually not a good idea to have someone get on the stand and testify, particularly if they are potential subjects. So I don't think it's very likely that we will see Donald Trump appear before this Manhattan grand jury.
Okay, so then, Charles, why not just subpoena him? I mean, is it, and I ask the question because, is it because he's a former president that might not happen?
No, it's not that, Jonathan. It's more so that, again, this is another indication around Alvin Bragg's intention here. You can't subpoena someone to testify against themselves because they have a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. So ultimately, being able to subpoena him would only be an issue if he were an essential witness. You're talking about a local grand jury here. This is not state. This is not federal. And so the subpoena power doesn't necessarily work the same as if, for example, he were Jack Smith or Congress. The subpoena power for local DAs is not necessarily as enforceable. And so it creates more of a hurdle than it solves to subpoena him and then ultimately have him plead the fifth anyway, if you could get the subpoena to be enforced.
And that is a very good distinction. I will keep in mind that this is not a federal, this wouldn't be a federal subpoena or federal indictment. This is local. Okay, so now talk about what happens if the Manhattan DA makes the unprecedented move to indict Trump. What does that mean exactly? And would such a move take Trump off the campaign trail?
Well, the first thing that has to happen is the grand jury has to actually return a true bill. Now, most of us don't consider that to be a significant hurdle because, as the old saying goes, you can indict a ham sandwich. But assuming that that takes place, then DA Bragg will actually file the indictment. Donald Trump would be arrested, brought in, and arraigned on the charges in the indictment. From there, it becomes a logistical nightmare because everything about this case is going to be watched on the public eye like nothing we've ever seen before. We're going to have court updates at literally every turn. I suspect that Donald Trump's attorneys will fight it with a myriad number of motions trying to dismiss this and or change the nature of the actual trial itself. And if this ever were to see trial, it again, there are a number of different logistical considerations that would make this a mess.
Well, I mean, I look forward to seeing this mess if it happens. So Charles, Michael Cohen has talked with prosecutors 20 times, and Monday he goes before the grand jury. What's the significance of this?
Well, one of the big things about this that I think viewers need to pay attention to is that this is not a new legal theory that Alvin Bragg is trying to proceed on. The big picture here is that Donald Trump is being potentially accused of campaign finances violations by taking campaign donations and eventually paying Stormy Daniels an illegal payment around hush money with those things. This legal theory is something that has been around in Alvin Bragg's office for a number of years, and it wasn't something that he was able to move forward or willing to move forward with in the past. So it's very interesting to see that now, whatever it is that Michael Cohen is giving him from an information standpoint, whatever additional facts or evidence Michael Cohen is providing is likely going to make the difference between him deciding to press forward with this legal theory now, when before it seems he was very sheepish and did not want to move forward with it then. So I think that a lot of it is his vetting and continued probing of Michael Cohen to find out exactly what you can tell us, exactly how credible it is, and how much of it can be used with respect to moving forward with the potential prosecution of Donald Trump.